Week 5 fantasy football. We're going live today answering your start sit questions. The one thing I want to say right before we get into it, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the videos, sticking along with me. We're going to do the best we can to help you guys out. And on top of that, just vibing, watching some ball, watching this Browns-Vikings game. Let me know what you think about that coming in. We'll let the chat fill up. I got the stats up. I also got the game here, like right down here to watch as well as we're pulling that up. So right now, 17-14. Last couple minutes I kind of missed. What's up, buddy? It's all been going good. A good Sunday morning. How's it going for you watching this Browns-Vikings game? Missed the last few minutes setting this up, but everything's looking solid here. Fun game to watch. Fun one so far. I mean, fun as in like football-wise. Trying to see what's going on with Dillon Gabriel and trying to see how this Browns offense is going to be moving forward. Jordan Addison not getting any work in the first quarter. Just a bunch of little tiny storylines in this game. Browns offensive line. Just those few plays every now and again that keeps breaking. Yeah, Judkins had that big run. He had that run that called back. Looks explosive. Looks good. Like, with how bad they are at the quarterback position right now and how great they are at defense, like, if they can just keep it going on the run game, use that defense, maybe they can sneak away a few wins this year. More than what they should. I missed the last few minutes due to setting this up. But from what I saw in the first quarter, what I would expect, just quick plays out for Dillon Gabriel. A lot of outs, a lot of screens, a lot in the flat, lots of the tight ends. What I would expect coming into here. I expect them to start off okay and be all right for a few quarters, a few games. And then once things have to get off script a little bit more, once opposing defenses try to push them out of this, them trying to get it out quick, short, quick, intermediate passes, that's when we're going to see what's going to happen here. Also, don't forget about Deshaun Watson. He's working out. This team's going to be a mess. They got 2 first-round picks. This team's fun to watch, though. They're fun to make fun of, too. They're just fun. I got a funny s'mores commercial on right now. 17-14. That's some kind of Springsteen movie coming up. But looking at the stats here right now. Let's see. Akers. The funny thing about that Akers touchdown pass, like, typically when a player does something like that, they just go crazy about, like, him playing quarterback at high school, throwing for over 3,000 yards during his senior year, and, like, it took him a little bit afterwards for them to bring up that he threw some passes in college. Like, they weren't prepared. I feel like when it comes to deeper knowledge, like, you can definitely see it in some of these broadcasts. Like, it's lacking. Like, it's starting to be more evident in there. Like, you're seeing some, of course, Al Michaels, Rich Eisen, they're older, so they're having their hiccups. But you're starting to see, like, the lacking in broadcasts, even on shows, like the deeper knowledge and everything else, which, like, the stat guys could whip that out to them and get them more to be prepared. Let's see, we got Jordan Mason, 9 for 37 and a touchdown. So right now he's got you like 9-ish right there. 9, 10-ish. Like, you're fine against this defense. He got you to fairway. You can't really ask for more than that. Like, if you're asking for 20 plus against the Browns here, I don't know. It takes a lot for that to be possible. It would be another touchdown and some yards with it. There's a chance for that. When you're looking at Jerry Jeudy, if Gabriel is going to be in there for a bit and they keep doing this, I don't know how he's going to get targets downfield. Like, I don't know how he's going to be able to rack up air yards. He might be able to rack up volume here, but oh no, they're on the goal line here. I'm just yapping and not paying attention. That Browns offensive line is a huge issue too. Like also with penalties, killing drives, and then Rodriguez is just really giving them fits up the gut. And we saw this the last few weeks. It's no surprise. It's not like I talk Browns a lot because I like to make fun of the quarterbacks. But he had 2 balls, at least 2 batted down in the first half. We got a guy in motion here. Another handoff up the gut. Good cut by Judkins. Judkins is nasty. Judkins is nasty, guys. Judkins is nasty. Like, he wasn't out during that final drive in the second quarter. I was scared. I was wondering what was up. I imagine it was fast-paced offense. Ford's out there. I imagine there's just some parts of the game plan they can do more with him since he's been with the team for years, and they want to be more diverse and quicker and faster paced. That would be my guess. But Judkins is nasty. Would you start T. Higgins or Troy Franklin? I'm nervous about both wide receivers here. I'm nervous about both. Let's pull up what Fantasy Pros has. My gut goes with T. When I saw those 2 names, my gut went with T. They both got quarterback issues. T is at 31. Who's the other one? Troy Franklin. Troy, I believe, is 38. Oh, I got it memorized. My gut went with T. You got a matchup here with Detroit. Now, I questioned it when I was looking at this, and it's still there. So they're about to have a closing line here. What time is this game? 40, so closing line might be a little bit later. But 49.5 over under. We're sticking with that and the 10.5 spread. I like that. They could definitely push the game script a little bit more. So between the two, I would take that and pray that he brings in a deep catch. I'm not really trusting it. But I'm not really trusting Troy exactly either. We got this Eagles matchup. The Eagles will bend a little bit to wide receivers. We got 44.5 over under. This is a game script. We got good firepower, but both these two defenses could really slow it down. Vegas is like, hey, it could go either way here with that 44.5 because it's right down the middle of all the other spreads. 44.5, 45.5 usually, like right in the middle of the spreads. And that either tells you you're going to get moderate scoring or they don't know what to do with it. It could go either way. I think we'll get moderate, and it could break a little bit more, less, or more than that when it comes to movement for fantasy football. But I think it's risky, and I think Franklin's got to score a touchdown where he get Higgins. I think if you're looking for a lot more points and you're looking at just 49.5 over under, I don't really agree with it how it happens. But I can definitely see the Lions road dogging and the Bengals slinging it. Definitely see that. So my gut went with T when I saw the names instantly. Fantasy Pros went with T. And then when I look at the over-unders and game scripts, I like for randomness to happen more with the Lions-Bengals game that could be more favorable. So I would go T. Khalil Shakur. That's a good question too. With that one, they also got 49.5 over under. I believe they're going to be tight with T and Khalil. They might even have Khalil ahead. My gut went with Khalil. 32. Where's T right next to each other. That was a good guess. My gut went with Khalil. I feel a little bit safer. With Khalil. And when I think about Khalil and what he's projected for and what he's been doing, 9, 2, 4, 4, and 5 on the targets this year, you got a matchup here. Let's look at the Patriots, what they're doing against wide receivers. We're in PPR. Patriots. Middle of the road in the league, right? So 14th But ultimately, you want to look for the context. 1, 2 wide receivers getting to the fairway, 10 to 15 range. 1, 2 wide receivers getting to the fairway. Next game, 1, 2 wide receivers getting to the fairway. It's Carolina. It's Bryce Young. Context with the score here. We got T-Mac getting to the fairway. So, like, my gut was thinking he's safe for the fairway. Numbers with the Pat saying safe for the fairway. I think your only risk with Khalil is if targets go to Keon or Josh Palmer. But he's rocking a 5-ish range right now. And if the game script gets pushed, you get something like week 1. I think if you're shooting for a game script to break and for upside for 20 plus, it's T. But I think it's a huge risk and a high probability of getting what you've been getting these last few weeks. When you look at the matchups here against Minnesota and Denver, historically Minnesota, they're rough when it comes to allowing fantasy points. And then also when you think about that game script, they're out of it early and they just couldn't get it pushed. And then it's Denver D. Denver D right here. You got Detroit. Their defense ain't no joke. You're looking at what they've allowed, but they're also in weird games. Look at all the points scored in their games. So you're looking at that. 13, 31, 17 on the top end. Are there 2 wide receivers hitting? Because you know Jamar Chase. No. I think it goes Khalil. I feel a little bit safer. Next is Dak or Herbert. Let's see what Fantasy Pros got. My gut went with Dak, actually. So I'll start doing that. Once I read the name, I'll tell you what my gut went with, and then I'll go deeper, see if I switch off of it. Dak versus Herbert. They got Herbert higher. My gut went with Dak. So, Washington, 47. They got a good line there. They also got a good line here for Dallas, 48.5. So, I want to say it's going to be tight between the two. And I want to also say that you're looking at which quarterback's going to score the top. So that's what I'm looking at here. That's what I'm looking at here. So I think you're good with either. If you want to go Herbert, you're good. I think the question with Herbert is actually on the other side. If Jaydon Daniels, if you saw that leg brace he's been practicing, then that's a little concerning. I think you're good with either. I think you're just in a blessed situation here. I think Dak's better than his ranking. And I think he's going to be in random shootouts all year long. I think Herbert's good as well. I'm cool to come off of what my gut said Dak and go with Herbert. I'm cool with that. You mentioned O-line. I don't know what part you're mentioning. The penalties in the first quarter or what. There's also that. And then also like the couple sacks if we're talking about the Browns. But I also agree with you some parts about the Vikings. It really depends. It's very nuanced there. Like if we're talking about that. Like you're also thinking about Wentz and how everything's been changed up. You're also... like, you're seeing some of these matchups. They're bending, not breaking, and all that. I mean, it really depends on... it's very, very depending on context. Baker, Goff, Michael Carter, or Sean Tucker? Baker or Goff? Goff sounds safer. Let's see here. Baker or Goff? Baker's got Seattle on the road, and then Goff sounds safer to me. They got Cincy. What I like about the Cincinnati matchup is they got a 49.5 over-under. I don't agree with it, but every time where I strongly disagree with it, it actually hits to the over every single week. So I'm just going to say Vegas likes this game that have high scoring, and I can definitely see how Detroit can get there against this team. I think the only worry is if Detroit gets up. But Vegas is also saying that there's going to be some sort of pushback in this game to get to that high over-under at 49.5. I've been wrong at least once a week on a matchup like this where I'm very confused about the over-under. But I feel safest with Goff here. I think both of them are going to have some... Like, Baker's always just solid. Baker's very safe week to week. Like, there's never a week I really don't like Baker. So you're good with either. I like them both. I think Goff's really solid in this matchup. I hope that helps. What we got here? I got one for you. Flowers or Devonta Smith. That is a good one. That's a good one. Because you got Cooper Rush. And then you got against the Broncos. You also got what A.J. Brown Smith said in the media. Pull up some numbers real quick. Chat's not blown up yet. So let's look at some of this. Targets have been volatile. You got the Denver. Denver's been a little different compared to last year. Last year, very locked down. Now they're bending a little bit more. Still, but it's the Bengals. Rookie quarterback, contextually. Remember that matchup, too, that sometimes these games starting to get a little foggy. But I remember that game also. Tennessee made it a little bit of a scrap. Bo Nix coming out throwing 2 picks. You got the Colts. They doubled up. They can double up on wide receivers. I think he's got a shot at hitting the fairway. When I'm looking at Flowers, I'm very scared of Cooper Rush. Honestly. I don't know what I'm going to get with Cooper Rush. That's the question here. Like I know Devonta Smith's either going to not get anything or they're going to just funnel it to him. I know that. I know what I'm getting here with Cooper Rush. Where's Ravens at? I'm all over the place. With Cooper Rush, what the heck happened there? There we go. Against the Texans, they got a 40.5 over-under. If I can read the narrative of what Vegas is trying to say about this, is they're just thinking this is a slap fight. This could be an ugly one. Typically, when it is lower over-unders, the passing game, and Zay Flowers, I don't have I never looked at the metrics on it, but typically when it's lower volume games, that's when he's lower volume in scoring production. That'd be my worry. I'd go Devonta, and I just know what I'm going to get there with him. That's what I like about Patrick Surtain or Brown. Good question here. So IDP, I'm kind of I fade IDP and then play snap counts. Let's see here. Patrick Surtain. We got 111. Which Brown you got? Woody Marks and Jaydon. I think I'd roll Surtain, but when it comes to IDP, mine are mostly in deep dynasties. I fade it to build the offense, and then I'll just play the snap counts off the waiver wire. And it's deep, so usually there's just 2 to 3 options, and I just play the matchups. Good morning. Need a flex PPR. Woody or JK? Broncos, Eagles. I don't like that matchup too much. Sorry. Let me come back to this. I was saying Surtain covering Antonio Brown while I like Smith. I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. It's all good. Good morning. Need a flex. Woody or JK? Typically, I'd go JK, but I don't like that matchup. Let's see where they got here. I am. Gut goes Woody. They went Woody. Yeah. I don't like the Philly-Denver matchup. And you also got Cooper Rush at quarterback. and don't know how that's going to look like. That could be looking horrible in this matchup. Both these matchups could be rather horrible for fantasy production. So I just gamble on the explosiveness of Marks and just see what happens with that. That's what I would do. But it's tight between the two when you're looking at those game scripts. Start Fields or Hurts. Typically, I'd roll Hurts. But they're right next to each other. Nope, I'm going Fields. I like the Cowboys matchup better. I think it's a little bit safer. I think it's safer for his upside. I think as long as he doesn't get hurt, he's going to get you at least to the fairway and you're going to be all right. I think he's going to take off with it a good bit. I think they're going to take off with a little bit more with them in this game, considering they're down a running back. Passing game wise, it should be a little softer for him. Should be all right. Let's see. We still got wide receiver numbers up. Dallas will break. Dallas will break. What Justin Jefferson just do? He just made a play. He just made a play. Here we go. Full downs. Malik Washington, Kendre. Full PPR flex. I think it's a coin flip between Downs and Malik Washington for me. And I have a feeling about Downs, but there's nothing contextual with it. It's just when I look at him, the thing is Pittman's going to be in. He's looking good. Another thing is A.D. Mitchell. What's going to be his status today? A.D. Mitchell's down, so we got to monitor his snap counts. Alec Pearson's out. You got the Raiders here. One thing about the Raiders is it's not a huge trend. It's actually a small trend. But there will be some games here, like here. That's two different games, Bruce. Like here. Bam. What the hell? They got the right team here. Rams. There. There's why I was messed up. So they got the trend where two wide receivers will hit. Just get you to the fairway. That's kind of why I like Josh Downs. They're allowing two wide receivers, the second one to get a little something. That's why I was kind of in on Josh Downs this week. And then the Colts usually are in game scripts where they push the pace and volume. And then also you got a good 47.5 over under. So Vegas kind of likes this matchup to get some sort of good movement here. So that's why I'm kind of liking Josh Downs. He's always been solid. Like, you just look at his productivity over the years. And it's just not been to his characteristic. Just not what he's been doing. Like, obviously, 11, 5, 6, and 3 is not that. And then you just go back even. Rookie season's not that bad considering it's a rookie year. It's just, eventually, it's got to revert back to this mean. It's also very spiky with bad quarterback play. So this should start to increase to something like this somewhere down the line. Once we get a larger sample of games here, the big problem here for him is Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren zapping up a good target share. It looks like A.D. Mitchell doghouse, Alec Pierce out. Should have good volume in this game. I think I'd go Josh Downs. I think JCM, Kendre, Demercado. You're hoping for the big player touchdown out of them. I think JCM and Demercado and Kendre, they're all gambles because you do not know what touches they're going to get or opportunities. You can say the same thing about Downs, but I think Downs, like, I got a good feeling for this week if you want to roll with that. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win? Seahawks or Bucks? Let me think about this game real quick. Because I haven't been thinking about, like, who wins or who loses of these games. They got 44.5 over under. I think it's going to hit. There was a weird line on DraftKings that confused me, like as if they had intel to this game or something, because they had the prop bet for Kenneth Walker at 10 PPR, 10.4 or something like that. And that threw me off for this game, trying to project it, because he has hit above that every single game but one. He's getting good workload every single game, getting targets. Did not score a touchdown last week, so he's kind of due. There should be okay movement. The spread's actually pretty solid here at 44.5. It's right down the center line. So I wonder if there's something they know, because they wouldn't have him low or everybody would bet high and they'd just lose money. Or are they that messed up? Is there something they know about this game that we don't? That's had me a hang up on this game this whole time. Like, my guess, when I look at the firepower on both teams, sure, Bucks are down Bucky and Mike Evans, but you got Godwin back, who got 10 targets. You also got what you got on Seattle. They can push the game script here. You got Seattle at home. My best guess would be Seattle, and it'd be tight. And I think you're going to get a lot of movement in this game in the second half. I think you're going to get... I think it could start off kind of nasty in the beginning. Like anticlimactic with moderate to less movement when it comes to the chains being moved and scoring in the first two quarters, and things just ramp up in the second half. That would be my guess. I think it's going to be tight. My gut, since they're down players, I would go Seattle. With a tight one on the end. If I had to guess. That would be from my gut and studying the numbers. You still prefer Emari over Carter? I prefer him long term. I think touches is going to matter. I think Carter might out-touch him. I think Amari's got more upside for splash plays. I think he is going to be used in the passing game, where Carter's probably going to barely be used. When Carter got all that work, all the running backs were really out. It was him versus Tony Jones and DJ Dallas. It was those three running backs when he got the work last year. So I think Emari Demercado has more upside, especially for the long term. I would do that. Game in, it's coin flip due to Carter might get the touchdown. I'm also looking at this game, and when I think about this, if you really think the beginning of that video with the South Park meme I had in there, and it being a slap fight, and you got 41.5 over under here, Titans just get in these game scripts where, I'll just show you here in the schedule, where they can make it like an ugly scrap due to, on offense, they can't score. But yet, if you look at this Broncos game, Bo Nix throws 2 picks, and that becomes ugly. This Rams game, that started off ugly. They can make games ugly. So that's what I got scared. Now the Colts are the Colts, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So that's what's going to happen with that. But here's another one. Still, look at this game. 6-0. 6-0. Like, even when that offense, remember, they're getting, 10 of 26, 14 carry, whatever the hell stats that is. The defense and stuff's dealing with all that. And we're going into the fourth quarter with it only being 6-0. Like, they can be scrappy. I think that it's going to be a scrappy game that's ugly. A slap fight game. That's where it is. It's like the upside long-term multiple games. I would go with Emari. I think it's going to be a slap fight. If Carter just gets the touchdown, that might be it. It might be a situation where you want neither. That's the thing, but I still have Emari over Carter, but it may not matter. Fields or Mayfield? Full PPR, one flex. I'm guessing that's Jameson Williams. Javonte keeps going in my head. Or Tolbert. I think Tolbert's safer for fairway. I'd be doing Jameson Williams. My lineup would do Jameson Williams because I just shoot for that upside. I think he's due. They got him at 30. I mean, they got Tolbert very low. I'm high on Tolbert compared to most. They got him at 46. I think Tolbert's safe. Like, I think he's safe for about 5-6 targets. I think that's going to be there. I think he's going to be safe for the fairway. I don't know if the fairway is going to win your week, though. I think J-Mo, like, really, when you think about him, like, sure, fairway's more than 5, 6, and 6, but I think he's got a higher probability to get you to that 18+. And we got a matchup here against the Bengals. And since he just gives up points to wide receivers like crazy, like they're either bending or breaking, and it's like both wide receivers will hit, that's Denver. And they've not been super fire. That's Cleveland. We've seen Cleveland. 2 wide receivers. Yeah, I'd go J-Mo. I hope that's J-Mo. It could be Javonte. If it's Javonte Williams, I'd do Javonte Williams too. 1 TE. Ertz, Juwan Johnson. Thanks. Juwan Johnson. He was on the queue. I want to check him first. Because I just jumped on here. Active. 11, 9, 8, 3. They brought up another tight end, I thought, with our boy. He will be active. However, he should remain a focal point of the offense, assuming he is close to full strength. Assuming. They don't know. That's from Fantasy Pros. They don't know. They don't know if he's close to full strength. So, really, they just know that he's active. I mean, by proxy, Juwan Johnson's the start, and you just have to make the gut decision whether you trust him getting touches and opportunities or not, getting his normal workload and snap rate. Fundamentally, it's Juwan Johnson, but the question is the injury, which you don't know. Then after that's a gut decision. You're talking about Zach Ertz. They're down. Ertz would be my next guy. So that's really, fundamentally, you're either going Juwan Johnson, and if you're worried about the ankle and you don't trust them, they did bring up another tight end. They did. Let me figure out who it was, because I'm tired. I stayed up watching. They brought him up. Officially active. They brought him up. And then they also got Taysom Hill up. Season debut. When I saw that, it's pay dirt. I don't know what they're doing with the other guys. I don't think it matters. Moro's better than those guys anyways. I don't think it matters. I don't think that's even a clue. I think fundamentally I'd go Juwan Johnson, but if my gut's sick about that ankle, I'd roll Ertz. I know that doesn't help with a direct answer, but it's an honest answer that gives you some strategy to it. That's probably the best guess. And the only way to have a direct answer is to have him in the room with me or hang out with him and him letting me know what's up with that ankle. Would you flex Darius Slayton or A.O. Manor? So it's a question of what you really want and how to strategize this. Darius Slayton's a ambiguous upside play. So really what I'm seeing with Jackson Dart is he's very aggressive. He likes to push it downfield. He led all college quarterbacks last year in deep ball attempts, 20 yards or more. I like that for Slayton. But it's still his second game, so I look at him very ambiguous. So I see Slayton either hitting big or hitting very low. I look at A.O. Manor. I mean, he's safe getting you a little something. That's the thing. But he's like every other game. Safe getting a little something. Just safe. You're on the road against AZ. You got Will Johnson there. I think you're probably going to be around that 10 to 13 range if we have a good game, if we connect. It's all about that touchdown. We're only catching 2 to 4 balls a game. If I need to really push it with this lineup decision, I'm going Darius Slayton and understand that I could get like 5 or a big performance. I think the thing is when Malik Neighbors is out, you can kind of see from his chart that, but it was with different quarterbacks, not a rookie, so it's not really 1 for 1. You have to keep that in mind contextually. That he can score. He can be solid for his game's good for fantasy as a volatile asset. Very volatile wide receiver that can trend for upside. He can also give you those down. That's what my mind goes to. Like, you're either going to get these low red games or these high scoring matchups. And if you really want to think about it, you're getting like different context. Remember last year and this year we had Malik Neighbors here and around here. About half the time he's getting it for you. So you got like a 50-50 shot with Darius Slayton getting you 15 plus. Where Elikeo Manor, you're getting 4 catches on the high so far in the season. You're hoping to get that touchdown. But if you want to shoot for the fairway, that's what I'd look for. If I want to boom bust it, it's Slayton. Yes, it's Seattle for the win. All right, cool that we're on par. I was kind of like looking at that and then all the stats and stuff and went off my gut. I think it's going to be a fun one with good movement. I think it could be anticlimactic first couple quarters and then it's going to ramp up with Mayfield just start heating up a little bit and Seattle probably, or should be, finishing it off pretty good. Start 3, Kincaid, Ridley, Franklin, Kirk. Start 3 of those. We got some rough matchups here. Kincaid's in the best matchup, but it's Kincaid. That's the thing. Kincaid's got the best matchup. 2, 6, 6, and 4. His ADOT's always real low. Kincaid, you're gambling for the touchdown. He's got a touchdown every game but 1. Andrews, you got Cooper Rush. Really, we're questionable. We're in. Franklin. I got to start 3. Franklin. I don't want to start Ridley. I don't. Kirk. He started off good on targets that first week. Then we got 4 the next week. That's against Tennessee. We've been talking about Tennessee can be dogs in game scripts. I think it'd go Franklin, Kirk. I think by default I'd go Franklin, Kirk, Ridley, but I don't want to start Ridley. And then your next best option would be Kincaid and just praise he scores the touchdown. Ridley's also due a touchdown. He's actually getting good volume. Like, you're going to get more shots, and they're going to be deeper downfield. You only got 3 here, but 7, 6, 8. You're going to get more shots out of him with targets. They may not be the ones you want. He's on track to play, though. Franklin, Kirk, and then it's toss-up between Ridley and Kincaid. Kincaid's just a gamble on the touchdown. Ridley, you're going to get more shots with the targets. But he's been questionable. He hasn't been firing. He's missed every single week. I don't see him trending up anytime soon. The snap rate might be there. You got Cooper Rush with Mark Andrews. Andrews could see extra targets, though. That's the thing. Andrews could see extra targets in this matchup. Maybe your safe bet. Maybe. Now I'm talking myself out of it. Definitely Franklin Kirk. Franklin Kirk. I think fundamental says Franklin Kirk Ridley, but if you're not feeling the injury status, go Kincaid and hope he scores a touchdown due to the volume of that game. That's it. if you're not feeling that, because he's going to run more routes than Kincaid and Andrews. He might run as many routes as them combined. He'll get targets. But if you don't feel good about the questionable status, that's going to really hurt that, cause him not to get that. He hasn't been hitting anyways. Then you're just hoping one of those tight ends get a touchdown. It could be either one. Just Kincaid's in the better matchup for volume. That's what's up with that. But Rush could just use Andrews as a blanket as well. So if you don't like Ridley, I'd go to Kincaid and hope for the volume hits. Next, I got offered Jordan Mason, Travis Kelce for Kamara. What do you think? Redraft wise? Let me double check on Aaron Jones here. I need more sleep. IR. Week 8 return for him. Week 8, it's week 5 now. Obviously, Mason's playing now. 6, 7, then 8. So, Cleveland, bye. Philly, are you starting him this week against Cleveland? If you are, then you're probably starting him against Philly. That's could be a rough matchup. When does McCarthy trend to be back? That's going to be a bit, right? Out. Hasn't practiced to return. He hasn't. Well, Cleveland, they got to bye maybe against Philly. Kelce. And you get I'll just keep looking at the players, and I'll just go off of that. We haven't really been firing, and Rashee Rice is going to be back soon. Looking at this for Travis Kelce. So 9, 10, and 12. We hit 4 upside weeks, really. 5, 6, technically, if you count those 15 games. 15-point games, 15.9 and 16. You got Kamara. I think the only thing that you're risking with Kamara is that injury risks, but due to him being a running back, I think I like Kamara the best. Because you're going to be getting Aaron Jones back, and he's going to muddy the waters. He hasn't really been hitting, but double digits 3 of the last 4 games. I think I'd rather have Kamara. Unless you're that bad at tight end to where, like, you're looking at Darren Waller, you want him, but you couldn't get him on Fab. You're looking at that. If I'm in that boat, then I want Kelce. And then I'm probably all right at running back everywhere else if you're looking for that swap. If I'm that bad at tight end, sure. Overall, in a vacuum, I would want Kamara. I think the Saints are just going to be in fire game scripts. And in this scenario, you're good at tight end to where, like, when he's hitting 18, when we're seeing Kelce playing well, 10, 12, the other tight end's not far off, and you're looking at Kamara doing well. Andrews, Fannin, Taylor. Andrews, Fannin, Taylor. So you got Fannin, Taylor, and Andrews. I think really. Even when it's too late to call a friend, it's never too late. I think you're solid to stick it with Kamara. I think you're solid. You can stream tight end. I think you're solid to stay put. That's why our licensed mental health therapists are available anytime. All right, between Fields and Mayfield, I like them both. I think if you got both Fields and Mayfield, I think you're good to start either one of them. I think Fields versus the Cowboys defense is just a good matchup for him. I think there's just a lot of upside there. If I got Fields and I'm going to start him, this would be definitely the week. Like, if I got Fields and I don't start him here, I might as well just trade him. I like Mayfield. I think this is a fine game script for him. I think he's always safe. I think he's always going to be the safer player in these situations. I think I want to shoot more for that upside with Fields. I think he's got to have some good safety and security in this matchup against the Cowboys. I think this is the matchup you start him. Stroud or Baker? Baker off the rip for me. I don't know what they got. Because this is a market off 30-some rankers. They got Stroud down there. Baker's just safe for me. Like, I get a lot of Baker. A lot of people have Baker, and they always got him with another quarterback in similar range. And Baker's usually the safer bet. He doesn't always outscore the other guy, but he's always the safer bet to not flatline. Like, he's aggressive with it. He's good with it. He's in good game scripts. He's just always the safer one. Whenever I got that question, it's usually one that... Okay, yeah, I think you're good. Holding, I think you can... I think if you stream well, that's what I do. I'd be streaming, playing matchups, and I think when Kelsey does hit in some of these games, I think the score difference between that tight end, whatever tight end you start, ain't going to be that far off. Like, maybe 5-6 points. But I think Kamara is going to break the difference in a lot of those matchups, too, to where you're going to wish you had those tight ends on Kamara versus Mason, who's going to start losing some of his job here soon. Back to Aaron Jones, it's going to be starting to where you can only get touchdown upside out of him. Yeah, I like those backs. Running backs go down, you got a good three-headed duo, and I would want to keep that. Because the worst thing that could happen is if you deal him, you're stuck with Mason. Now, after the bye, and we're back with him and Aaron Jones splitting work, you're down Genty or ETN, and now you don't have Kamara anymore. But yet you can still stream with those three backs. I'd go J.K. Dobbins over Carter. I just feel safer with the touches. Also, both of them are nasty game scripts. So, I kind of like the Broncos-Eagles game script a little bit better. It's less of a slap fight contest. I'd go Dobbins. And then Keenan Allen. I feel safer with him. I just don't like Cooper Rush right now. I'm just not a fan of that. I can definitely make the case where you can go the other way if you want to do that. And that's just Zay getting peppered with some of the shorter targets. Washington Commanders can be tricky when it comes to allowing fantasy production to wide receivers. It could go to the other wide receivers. I can definitely see with the Chargers being down another offensive lineman, that could really hurt them in this matchup. I can see the Commanders taking advantage of that. I think process-wise, my lineup-wise, I would go with Keenan, and then also I'd go Dobbins. So I've not watched a bit of this game. 17-14, so I'm going to have to box score it. We even off of it. Let me check real quick. They haven't scored either in a bit. It's just been ugly. But Gabriel, his averages went down to 4.9. I'm just box scoring it right now. So, next question's up. Waller or Mason Taylor? I think both of them are fun gambles this week. I think both of them are fun because you got Taylor against the Cowboys, and Waller's got a fun matchup. Panthers. I think I'd go Waller. I think he's going to... His target rate was insane. His targets per route was at 4 targets on 10 routes. I think I'd go Waller. I think he's going to be more towards that 15 to 20 route range. But I think red zone work. I think I'd go Waller. I'm definitely in on Mason Taylor, but I think he's a gamble still. Would you start Demercado or Debo? I'd go Debo. I'd feel a little bit safer. Now that could bite you because Demercado is very explosive. Like, get him a couple touches in space, and he could blow it up. But we're down. Scary Terry. We got JD5 back, so we should get more movement here. It's a rough matchup, but Debo can get it around the short range. I think I'd go Debo just because it's safer. Now, when you're thinking about Carter versus Demercado, I think it's going to be like a big mix. I don't see it like Carter getting like a 35 to 40% opportunity share. Demercado stuck around 10%, only getting targets. I think it's going to be closer. One's going to get more, and it's probably Carter going to get more opportunity with the rushing attempts. but I think you're hoping for him to score a touchdown. His yards per carry hasn't been that great with him in the last few outings. And you're looking at Demercado is just very explosive. All he needs is a couple touches. And he's proven that he needs more work in those limited samples last year as well. Demercado has. I'd lean to him. Chat, would you all trade away Bucky and JSN for Nico and Cook? The big question is whether or not this is Dynasty or Redraft. I think redraft-wise, the only risk factor is running back injuries. And I think the best player right now, scoring-wise, explosiveness, security, is Cook. And then you get Nico with it. And I think you're really just catching Nico here on the down. Dynasty, I got to stare at that a little bit longer. Like, he's starting to heat back up. You got JSN. Solid getting targets. But, man, Cook. Bam. And they just keep moving the ball. They just keep moving the ball and putting him in. He doesn't even have to be efficient. He wasn't efficient last year and was still able to score fantasy points. That's the thing. Even when he's not efficient, he can score fantasy points. So we saw that last year in the numbers. So what that tells me, even in bad matchups, even when things are not going well, he can still get you fantasy points. And now he's more efficient. 6.9, 5.6, 5.3. Having a good run right now. He can get you fantasy points. So when some of these matchups start to tighten up, he still can get it for you. I think he's very safe. I mentioned it, but it wasn't all the way in. It was kind of according to price for me. But a lot of people were down on the efficiency last year. I think also when I talk in circles, when I brought it up, like this team moves the ball. It's also a sign that, hey, when things are bad matchups, or down offensive linemen, things aren't as efficient for him, he can still score fantasy points. I think when I'm thinking about that Bucky versus NJSN, I think the player one out of this deal is Cook, and I think Nico and JSN, like, they're not going to exactly wash because Jackson Smith-Njigba has been getting targeted so well. But you got Bucky now banged up. I think it's fine. Sean Tucker, Ollie Gordon. This is a gut decision, and it's really on game flow. And that Tampa Bay game, 44.5 over-under. Jordan Addison just scored a touchdown. And this one, 44.5. Panthers historically give up fantasy points to running backs. Very good. Seattle, I looked at it. I mean, I'm always looking at it. Let me see here. Below average. That's running backs, though. That's wide receivers. Bam. Which means 12-yard touchdown. Addison. Benson. I think I'd go Ollie Gordon for the touchdown. I think, here's the thing about this. I think Sean Tucker is going to get more work than Ollie Gordon. I think Sean Tucker is likely to get a better opportunity share. So it really depends. If you're looking for the touchdown, I would go Ollie Gordon. If you're looking for just touches, like if you're looking a chance to get more than 10 carries and seeing if you can get to 10 fantasy points, Sean Tucker. I think Sean Tucker, actually. I think he's going to get more work. I think he's just going to get more work overall. I think Ollie Gordon is a gamble and more likely to get that touchdown due to the flow of the game. J.K. Dobbins, Wan'Dale Robinson. The safe play is J.K. Dobbins. Next is Wan'Dale Robinson. Michael Carter last. That's how I would rank them. And if you want more upside, considering the volume of the matchup, Wan'Dale. J.K. Dobbins just getting the touches might be enough to get you the baseline. But Wan'Dale, very risky due to the quarterback play changes. No Malik Neighbors on the other side. I look for him to get a lot of volume, a lot of routes ran. I think there's risk to him. That's why I got him ranked second. And Carter, there's a lot of risk because he's sharing it. Bill Krosky Merritt, Emari Demercado, Flex PPR, or RJ Harvey. Really depends on, first off, if you're shooting for more upside or if you just want to get some baseline fantasy points hitting the fairway. A.O. Manor, if you want to hit the fairway, I think he's going to get a fair shot at targets. I think Hendo would be my next one. I think more often than not, most time I'd be starting Hendo. I think the other running backs are gambles to cross goal lines, and that's it. So you're just looking at those matchups. Demercado's matchup ain't that great. Krosky Merritt could cross the goal line in this matchup. He's been grading well in PFF. Browns just made a play. I don't know what happened, but the Browns just made a play. Gabriel did something or something happened. His average went up for sure. Something happened because it was at 4.8. Now it's at 5.3. 168 yards passing. All right. So, yeah, I'd go Hendo for the upside and then Bill Krosky for the touchdown. Do you start Taysom Hill today? I think 90% of the time I wouldn't. I think there's a 10% of the time I probably would. And the reason why is if I'm that bad off at tight end to where I hate my tight ends. I look at my tight ends and I absolutely hate them. Like I'm starting like Brenton Strange and stuff like that. Then I'd probably just say, what the heck, I'd throw him in. If I'm not to that point and I got like Sam Laporta, I got one of those types of tight ends, one of those middle range scoring tight ends, good matchup though, or something like that. I probably wouldn't get that creative. I would stash them. Also in this match, if I'm good at tight end, I'll typically not get a second tight end unless it is somebody like Taysom Hill because he's just different. I also can't project anything he's going to do. I think the odds are he's probably going to get, only time he's going to get true looks is probably around the red zone with a carry. So there's a chance he scores. So really, I would do it if I was straight up gambling. And to make that gamble, I would have to hate my tight ends. That's also, I would grade that off the feel of my gut. I look at my tight ends, and I absolutely hate to start them every week. I feel like I'm messed up at tight end. I don't care. Even if they do outscore Taysom Hill, I'm going to make this gamble. I don't like you guys anymore. I'm going to start Taysom Hill. That's when I would do that. Kittle's injured for you. So, you probably hate your tight ends. You're probably in a spot, because if I drafted Kittle, more than likely, I didn't go a second tight end in my draft. And if I did, I went very late. So more than likely, I mean, it's a gamble. Even when he's healthy, but he's coming back. Touches are probably going to be limited. Opportunities are going to be limited. He's not a traditional tight end. He's a gadget player. I think he's a gamble. He's a gamble for a red zone look. The fact that you're asking and me putting the dots together lets me know that there's a chance that you probably hate the other tight end. And what you're looking at here is a big gamble of crossing the goal line. And another thing here at the tight end spot. Let's see, fantasy football leaders. Let me show you something here. I don't have many. What the heck? I just want my. That out here. NFL. Watch this. This might help you. When you're looking at tight end spot, say we get around tight end 11, 9, scoring 12. Now go down, so around 10. Call that 10-ish. So you get down to around 25. That's only 4 points away. So if you really miss, you ain't going to be missing that big. The tight end position, like, once you're out, like, the top couple, and it gets worse than that. That's actually a good week 1. As you see in 10, we have 12. A tight end 1 is 9.8. Tight end 25 6. You're not too far off. Think about that. So really, you're shooting for upside, a lot of these guys. Like, you kind of know, like, their name, like, JT Sanders got a bunch of targets that week. Brock Wright randomly getting there. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm doing the matchup videos. I'm saying game script could push for a touchdown here, just touchdown upside, just a touchdown guy here. Like 12 here for Brenton Strange. 10 points here at a tight end one that Drew Sample. You coming down here, tight end 25, 6, like 4 points off. So say you bust, what are you really losing? Like, you're trying to get in this top 5 range with your lineup strategy at tight end. Or you're trying to get something that's kind of steady, like a Juwan Johnson, that's up and down around that 9-10 range. Like, still at 9, he's only like a few points off from tight end 25. So that's one thing, too. If I'm hurting, you may want to just shoot for more upside. Like, you're seeing some good tight ends here. Pitts, Laporta, Ertz, Warren in that week, Kelsey. So, honestly, if you hate your tight end, it's even if he busts, it ain't going to hurt you that bad. Because there's only like 5. And like this week, there was only 7 tight ends. Unless you want to count these 12 spots here. This is actually a good week for tight end as we went through these numbers. See, 17. However, you go to 25-6. And then week 5, we're already there. So that was weeks 1 and 4 are pretty good. Every other week, you can get some dank weeks. It can get worse. It can get worse. We can go to other years. We can go 2024. Let's go week 8 last year. It's like that last year. It ain't a trend. Last year was pretty early in the year was when it was rough. Let's go week 1. See, it can get rough. It can get rough. Tight end's just volatile and tricky. I'd go Juwan Johnson. Here's the thing about Juwan Johnson. I said this to somebody else. That fundamentals, you'd go Juwan Johnson pretty much over a lot of people due to the targets and everything. However, since he came in questionable, and you're worried about, if I remember right, the ankle, and your gut's saying, I don't trust it, then I'd go the other player. Then I'd go, because we don't have intel. We don't know, like, the snap rate, all that stuff. Like, we'd only know if we hung out with them. So the best advice and the best thought process would be, well, fundamentals would say this. Fundamentals always would usually say Juwan Johnson. You could either follow that, but if your intuition is going the other way so much, I think it's all right to go Taylor. It's a good matchup. Now, if you're asking me what I'd personally do, I'd go Juwan Johnson and just follow the fundamentals just because he's out there, and it's a gamble either way. And I think tight end's a gamble either way. Like, I have these numbers pulled up from last year. This is week 1 of 2024, and tight ends could be like this on any given week too, where none of them are really worth anything but like 1 or 2. So it's actually like that a lot of weeks. Let's go to week 2 of last year. As I was in week 2, like, they can be very random. Tight end can be very random. Week 3, top 10's not even scoring in 10 range in PPR. Get a little bit better throughout the year. It can be very volatile, but that's what I would do. Hopefully that helps. I like to be detailed and honest. Isaiah Davis or Pacheco. Yeah, I think that's a gut call if you're going Davis, and if your gut's saying it, do it. But I would still, I'd probably go let me double check the matchup here. I kind of haven't had a, this is my first Chiefs question. 45.5 over under. I remembered good movement here. Jacksonville to running backs. I'm already up to that. They'll either break or bend. Pacheco is trending a little bit up. His yards per carry ain't horrible. That's kind of, but his missed tackles force and yards after contact hasn't been great. 5, 4.5, and 5. So other things you want to note here contextually, Chargers have been pretty good against running backs. Philly defense. That Giants game, I was hoping for more out of that. Then you had that Baltimore 35, 3 balls caught. that got the touchdown. I think we'll get good movement on the road in this game. I think they say he's a flex. I think he's not a solid running back to start. I don't know if Isaiah Davis is going to get enough touches. Like, I could definitely see him getting 10 opportunities, Pacheco. I could definitely see Isaiah Davis sneaking a touchdown. That's how you win here on this one. But if your gut's calling it, I'm cool with it. I think fundamentally for my lineup, I'd probably still go Pacheco. But I think with what we've seen out of Pacheco, like, it's nothing like too crazy where you wouldn't have to go with your gut. I think you're fine to do that if you want. Now that Addison got me 50 points last minute, I started Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Who should I go wide fit? Congrats on Jordan Addison. It was scary in that first quarter when they didn't let him play. So, fantasy points per quarter is actually doing very well. Who for my wide receiver 3/in flex spot? So there's 2 players: Johnson, Debo, Hollywood, Chubb, Krosky, or Hendo. All right, so you got Juwan Johnson at tight end. Wide receivers 3 flex spot. Quentin Johnston and Debo would be your 2 safest. The other running backs, you're hoping that they just cross the goal line, so they're goal line gambles, especially Chubb and Krosky Merritt sharing the work, and Chubb sharing the work. So really, they could explode, but it could be due to crossing the goal line. Merritt over Chubb. Hendo working the receiving game. I think my baseline answer for that would be Johnston, Samuel. That's probably what I'd go with most of my lineups. If I'm shooting for more upside and I'm worried and I don't want to stack that game, I'd remove one that your gut says. My gut says Samuel, and then I'd go Hendo. But more often than not, for my lineups in a vacuum, QJ and Samuel. Yeah, the thing about Taysom Hill is he's back. We do not know his workload, opportunities, and how they want to manage him. I think Strange is going to get you more opportunities. It's also against the Chiefs' rougher game script. Now, if you don't have anything to lose, too, you're saying? So, with Taysom Hill, like, the gamble is he goes to 0. Like, there's a chance he doesn't even get a touch. I think there's a chance he gets a goal line touch or red zone touch. The true indicator with your question, though, is you have nothing to lose. So that lets me know whether or not that you want to go upside. And if you're going pure upside speculation, like, I can't see how Strange gets you 20 plus against Denver. I mean, against the Chiefs. I'm tired, sorry. But Taysom Hill, touchdown, maybe even 2. Maybe they just start using him around the red zone and goal line as they start to figure him out after this injury. That's probably where he's only going to get his work at, too. I think he's got touchdown upside as they start figuring him out, because that injury happened week 13 last year. He's back pretty early. I mean, if you want to do it, I don't hate it. If you want to go for the cheat code, I don't hate it. I don't hate it because I'm not really in love with Strange anyways. I think Strange is more likely to get you that 6 to 10 fantasy point range. Maybe 12-ish on the high. 12-16 range on the high. But if you're shooting for more than that, if you just want more upside, you can't lose, I understand. I think that's where I would do that. Chris Godwin or Jacoby Myers. I think both of them are great. I think you're in a great spot. Feel a little safer with Jacoby Myers right now. But they're both great. They're both great. So, like, if you want to go against that, if your gut's calling Chris Godwin, he got 10 targets last week. I think Jacoby is in the same line. He's just been healthy longer. That's where I draw the tiebreaker. outside of that, you're just great. You're just blessed at wide receiver. So you can really go either or. If it was me personally and I was just hitting the buttons for my lineups, I'd probably go Jacoby Myers due to that. Flex, Diggs, Ladd, or Chase Brown. Need upside and leaning Diggs. I like Diggs. I'm cool with that. I think Chase Brown's a massive gamble. I think Detroit is tough on running backs. I think it's hard to project him right now. Ladd's hard to project. You got two other wide receivers soaking up targets. This matchup, I like it for Ladd. I also like the matchup this week for Diggs. I think we're going to catch more movement. I'm leaning Diggs as well. It's good when both of us do. Rachaad White or Henry? Hunter Henry or Derrick Henry? I'm guessing Derrick Henry. I'd lean Derrick Henry. I'd lean Rachaad White over Hunter Henry. And I'd lean Derrick Henry, if that's what we're rolling with. You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. Trade-wise, Rachaad White for Rico Dowdle, or lineup-wise? Lineup-wise, I'd probably go Rachaad White. Rachaad White over Rico Dowdle. I would not trade Rachaad White for Rico Dowdle. I'd rather have Rachaad White as my RB backup or whatever, handcuff. Yeah, I'd go Rachaad White. And, I'd do Derrick Henry. Just, Cooper Rush is probably going to just keep giving him the rock. I think so. He's due too. I don't think the talent has diminished. He's already had a game where he blew up. They got him against Houston. It's a little rougher match. It's going to be rougher anyways with Cooper Rush. As you can see, I got to scroll to get to Rashad. He's not too far off from Derrick. Matchup-wise, it's kind of fine. I'd still roll on Derrick Henry. Because I trust the workload. I think he's just going to get it. Yep, Jacob R. Rashad. Yeah, Rashad over Rico. I feel he'll get work in the passing game too. Like Rico will too. He'll run about 20 routes today. Just Rachaad White's going to do more with it if he gets work in the passing game. I think Rico Dowdle is probably solid to get you a touchdown. I think Rachaad White's solid to get a large. Both of them are solid to get a large opportunity share. I just think the explosiveness. I think talent-wise, I'd have Rachaad White. I think I'd rather have the Bucs offense. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. I think matchup-wise, I think I'd rather have Panthers-Dolphins. I think that one could be rather fun for fantasy. I think it doesn't really matter, though, because you got a Baker Mayfield game script. I think I'm going to go Rachaad White. And Baker Mayfield, historically, doesn't matter what team he's with, whether it's Panthers. I don't know about the Browns. I don't count the Browns. But Panthers, Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay with them there has had different coaching staffs, always targeting the running backs around 20% clip. So I'm just going to roll with that. The running backs are heavy focus on both teams. They both got similar in the coaching regimes there. But because Canales was with Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay, but they've lost some of their coaches over to Jacksonville as well, Liam Cohen. That being said, I'd go Rachaad White. All right, is that it? There's no more questions, so I'm going to head out, watch some of the games with you guys, have some fun. I'll be back later with some waiver wire content. I want to thank you guys for watching.